So for our data collection and organization resource for this month, I have for you my school counseling organization hacks. So basically what this is it's like a combination of some little things that I've implemented along the way that have made a big difference. So it looks simple, but they're really quite life-changing. Life-changing might be a stretch, but counts are life-changing. So why you should use these organization hacks. They help you organize your caseload. So especially if you have a large caseload, this is a great way to make sure no one slips through the cracks. It helps you save time in between sessions, the way that you're going to be able to easily log everything and call students to your office. And this allows you to see more students and make a bigger impact. It also helps you keep it simple with paper logs. So I know, or y'all know, that I love digital, right? I'm always talking about digital stuff and providing you with digital data tools. But I also know that some of you are old school, so I wanted to give you an option. So this resource has some paper versions that I think you'll find like really simple and easy to use. And then if you later want to convert them to digital, you can, or you can just keep it old school. And it helps you easily track group attendance. So this one includes 5 activities or 5 tools here. So we have the individual counseling tracker, the group counseling tracker, a counseling log, a group sign-in sheet, a call sheet, and a counseling caseload spreadsheet. So I'll walk you through them each. First, it's important to create a folder system. So you might be thinking, who's that person on the left? That's me a long time ago as a new school counselor. It's actually from a YouTube video I have where I'm kind of walking through this process because I've used it for years. But I love a good folder system. So as you can see on the right hand side here is one of my folders. And then on the left hand side is me kind of showing you the folders I like. Get some cute ones, make it fun. Basically, the folder system is where you can keep all the students' materials. Here on the left-hand side, you can see like where I've just written in the counseling log, but I'll give you the forms to make it much more professional looking, and you'll see that here in a moment. Here they are. So on the right-hand side, you can see the individual counseling form. I just staple it or paste it in the folder there, and that's where you can write the student's name, the date, the topic that you covered, and any extra info. So this is a great way just to kind of jot down quick notes. It's meant to be brief, do it in between sessions, and it's mainly just to serve as a reminder for you, like, oh, okay, last week we worked on this, so you know right where to pick off. And then you have all of the resources that you're going to use with that student in the folder. And then, of course, at the end of counseling, you can send them home with their folder. And then any extra info, that would be like any notes that you want to remember that were special to that week, maybe regarding the student's mood or affect. And then we have the same thing for group counseling. So for group counseling, I have each student has an individual folder, but then I also have a group folder. And that's where I keep like the student sign-in sheets, the group rules, the feelings check posters, and like our outlines. And then I have this group counseling log on the left-hand side, and that's where we'll write the group name, again, date, topic, and extra info. So maybe if one student was having some behavior challenges or something, that's something you would write in the extra info. And then the topic, you can write, week 1, we did this. And this is helpful because sometimes, you might have an 8-week group and you have 8 sessions, but maybe 1 week it's just taking a long time, you didn't get to finish the activity. So you can write that in the topic, like, week 4, first half, and then the next week you'll do week 4, second half. But if you don't write it down, you might forget and go straight to week 5 because you have so many students, right? And then I include a school counseling log and call sheet. So this log's super simple. You'll just have a new one every day. So you can just write the date at the top there, and you just lay it out on your office, and you just have the students write down their name and their reason for their visit. So this way you can gather that data on those students who are dropping by your office, right? And I encourage you to use like sticky notes to cover up the previous names for confidentiality reasons, or you can just cover up, sticky notes parallel on the way down, so they don't know the names or the reason for the visit of the people who came before them. But this is a great way for you to just check in those frequent flyers, those kids who are stopping by. You don't have a scheduled appointment, but you're like, oh, I don't want to forget that they came by or why they came by. So again, looks super simple, super handy. And on the right-hand side, this also simple but super handy, is a call sheet. So at the one school I worked at, we were constantly using the phones. We would call and say, hey, Mr. Brown, or usually a student would answer. They had like an assigned student who answered the phone. So you would say like, hey, Justin, can you please send Brittany, Katie, and Taylor to counseling? And I'd say, yeah, sure. And I'd send them to counseling. So if you are doing a similar call system at your school, this is super helpful. It helps you realize where each student is, because I was constantly like figuring out, okay, who's their teacher again? I was looking at my caseload spreadsheet and then saying, and what's the extension for their phone? And I had the phone extension, and it was just chaotic. So finally I made this form that super simplified it. So, these are the times on these days that I need to see these students, and I would just call for one student if it was individual, or as you can see, I have a group there, and I would have to call, 3 different classes for the 3 different group members. So super helpful if you're using that system. If you're not using the call system, these are all editable, by the way. So you could edit this to be like when you're seeing those students and where you need to pick them up at. So I know a lot of times we'll go to their classroom and pick them up. So you need to remember the room number or who their teacher is. And you might be thinking, I should just know that. But if you have a huge caseload, which I'm sure you may, it can get a little tricky. So you can just kind of carry this around with you, or just make a quick note. Oh, okay, it's Monday at 9:30. I gotta go pick up Justin from Mr. Brown's class. Mr. Brown's room 34 or whatever. And then next up we have a group sign-in sheet. So I mentioned this earlier, how I would keep this in the folder for the group folder. But this is super helpful. I know not every counselor does this, but I found it really helpful because you just have the group name, the date, and the kids are going to sign in when they're there. And the reason this is helpful is because if there's like a fire drill or something happens, or a student's getting checked out early, you can know like exactly where they are. It's a great way to keep attendance and accountability. And later you can use it for data tracking. So you can count, who came to which session. So how many times you served each student through how many sessions. The kids love it. They weirdly were competitive about it and wanted to be the first one to sign in all the time. So it was just funny. It was like their favorite thing to do right when they got there, like, oh, sign-in sheet time. So a little thing that they liked, and then it helped me stay more organized. And finally, the digital counseling caseload spreadsheet. So this one, I love this thing. So inside this resource, you'll get a template to make your own copy on Google Drive. And then you can completely edit it to fit your needs. I obviously have some example students here. But this is how you can keep tabs on everyone and their identifying information. So, you're going to have their name, teacher, grade level, area of need, which is why you're seeing them for counseling, whether it be friendship, grief, growth mindset. Then the counseling type. So if they're individual, I left it in white there. If they're a group, I have them color coordinated by group. And I do this because someone might get added later on. Like you can see Ariana Grande was added later on. So instead of like moving my list all around, I just tagged her with the green, and it's clear to see that she's in the same group as those other students. Then going forward, I have a who you received the referral from. And then it's kind of like a checklist. So you can write yes or no, or make these check boxes. But did you contact the parent? Did you send home a permission slip? Did you receive the permission slip? Did you contact the teacher to find out the best time to meet? And did you schedule the session? So a lot of times, we'll have kids in limbo, like, oh, I sent home permission slips for these, but I don't know who I've got them back for yet. Or I'm waiting to hear back from that one teacher on the best time. And it kind of gets all wonky. So this is a great way for you to keep tabs on when to do what and where everyone's at in their counseling process. So maybe, 2 of your group members, everything's good to go, but maybe one of them you're still waiting to hear back on if that time will work for their teacher, or you're waiting for their permission slip. So I know from firsthand experience what it's like to, get overwhelmed when a student slips through the cracks. And so this is the best way to ensure that you're serving all your students. And again, you can use it to track data later on. So you can look at this and see, how many students that you served, how many students did you serve in groups, and how many students did you serve individually. That being said, you do want to use an asterisk like you see there at the bottom of the Ariana Grande, because some students you may see in a group and individually. And if that's the case, you want to do that little star beside them so you can make sure you're not double counting them when it comes to data collection. Okay guys, I hope you found these hacks as helpful as I did. Like I said, they're just little things you can start implementing to make your counseling life way easier. They're all editable, and I hope you love them.